question is that when the East India came, when that time in Indians and Muslim peoples, they both them together, ma'am.
कोई problem नहीं. SAI Deepak?
I'll just take the shot.
No, absolutely.
The question actually is very pertinent. Popular discourse में जो आपने अभी हिंदू मुस्लिम यूनिटी की बात की है, इसको कहते हैं गंगा जमुनी तहजीब, right? That's what it ultimately boils down to. Same here.
I'm sorry.
So here's the important thing that you should realize. Partition is typically attributed to the British divide and rule policy. ये कितना बड़ा झूठ है?
Yeah.
You will see this in my second book. It's called India, Bharat and Pakistan. Anyways, I'm not here to sell my book. I'll just explain what the issue is. Okay? So here's the thing. Think of me as the Arab invader or the Central Asian Turkic invader. So I come into Bharat. Obviously, my numbers and the numbers of my soldiers are not the same or comparable to the Indian population. So after the conquest is done, what do? Like the Hellenistic Greeks settled in Bactrian region, Punjab, and they married and intermarried, that would happen here. So the first guy who enters is called as the pure blood. Okay? He comes and he marries. So, and this is forcible marriage that happens because large-scale conversions start. So that generation of converts continue to retain their Hindu cultural identity. And therefore, they are still not trying to kill the rest of the Hindus. The second generation moves one distance away from its Hindu identity. The third generation has completely moved away from the Hindu identity and has completely become part of the invader's identity. This process effectively was completed around the 12th or the 13th century. And you read the periods after that. This Hindu-Muslim unity bubble that you speak of practically did not exist. You can blame the British for the divide and rule policy only after 1757 when they first won the Battle of Plassey.
Plassey, yeah.
Right? Uske pehle kya ho raha tha? Read that. So, Aurangzeb dies in 1707. Nadir Shah comes and invades Delhi in 1739, by which time the Mughal Empire is completely, it's destroyed for all practical purposes because they have all sorts of drunkards and womanizers. Their titles themselves are Rangila and so on and so forth. Okay? So, there is a gentleman who used to live in Delhi, Shah Waliullah Dehlavi. This gentleman writes to Turkey, writes to Nizam of Hyderabad, writes to Ahmad Shah Abdali, saying, the Marathas and Jats are reclaiming Muslim state power. Please come. So Abdali comes in 1757, destroys Mathura and goes. Dehlavi writes congratulatory letters. बहुत अच्छा काम किया. लेकिन जाते जाते आपने दिल्ली को क्यों मारा? Okay. He invites him the second time because by 1758 the Marathas have planted the saffron flag in Attock after several hundred years. So Abdali had reasons to fight the Marathas. Dehlavi writes a detailed letter to him saying, please come and यहाँ पे परचम फिर से आप फहराइए. Najib-ud-Dawla will help you from Rohila. Okay, he was a Rohila Pathan. ये आपकी मदद करेंगे. And in the letter he identifies दिल्ली के अंदर शिया कॉलोनीज कौन से हैं, हिंदू कॉलोनीज कौन से हैं, आपको कहाँ जाके किनको मारना है. He writes that in detail. Okay, and he also declares, my forefathers may have lived here for centuries, but I am an Arab and I will follow the religion of my forefathers. Any addition to Islam that comes from its influence with or its interactions with Hinduism must be rejected at the outset. He was the father of what is known as India's Wahhabi movement because he was a colleague of Muhammad Abdul Wahhab who started the Wahhabi movement in Middle East. So what I'm trying to tell you is, अगर कोई आके मुझसे कहता है कि भारत में एक वर्जन ऑफ इस्लाम है जिसको कहते हैं इंडियन इस्लाम, आई वुड से ये कहाँ से पैदा हुआ, कब से हुआ, इसका स्रोत क्या है, ये मुझे थोड़ा समझा दो. Because जब ये हुआ है, and he was a Sufi by the way, Shah Waliullah Dehlavi was a Naqshbandi Sufi. So when we say Sufism is the product of the confluence between Hinduism and Islam, he was a Sufi. Specifically saying, no aspect of Sufi Islam which is an influence from Hinduism can ever be accepted on the touchstone of Sharia, on Sunnat. This is his position. That position continues. You know who studied in his madrasa ultimately? Syed Ahmad Khan, who established Aligarh. And Aligarh was the fount of the Pakistan movement. उसके बाद पार्टीशन हुआ। 1000 साल का एक कॉन्टिन्यूटी है थॉट प्रोसेस का। अब मुझे समझा दीजिए कि यहाँ पे हिंदू मुस्लिम यूनिटी कर क्या रहा था। थैंक यू।